Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, Building Your Financial Future, part 5 in our series on Getting Your Financial House in Order, sponsored by LifeSize Solutions and the Society for Financial Awareness. Well, welcome to our last segment of this week, Getting Your Financial House in Order. We talked about this at the end of yesterday's segment. I want to just make sure we're touching base again. Building an emergency fund, I can't say anything stronger than this is a non-negotiable. When we help people get out of debt, we set up this account first. Remember, we're not even setting up the retirement account yet. We're not even doing saving for college yet. We're not even trying to put money aside for weddings and other things that'll happen along life's journey. This is number one. I have to be able to set up for emergencies, at least the ones I know are coming in life. As I said before, insurance deductibles, or losing my job and needing 3 to 6 months to find a new one. Hopefully it won't take that long, but to have at least money there so that I'm never ever changing my lifestyle if I don't have to. So when I'm looking at this emergency fund, I want to be able to go ahead and make sure that I've put all that for the deductibles, put money aside for my deductibles and money aside for my unemployment. I want to put emergency money. Once I've tapped that out and I have an emergency fund that's fully funded, I want to be able to pay down my debt, get that out of the way, and then start saving in earnest for not only home, maybe a down payment on a house, but maybe college education, maybe even for my own retirement and how I'm going to live. Remember, what you do today is going to determine how you're going to live tomorrow. So it's a big deal, and you want to be able to have a really good retirement. How many ever seen this rule of 72? It's a really basic concept. You don't need a calculator for this. It's the rule of 72. It just basically says how many years when your money will double, so that you can kind of have a rule of thumb when you're trying to figure it out. So, for example, if you want to know how long it takes for your money to double at 8% interest, you divide 8 into 72, and that makes 9 years. Or if you want to do the easy one, if you took 10% rate of return, I don't know where you're going to get that, but 10% rate of return in 72, you'd be making 7.2 years, your money would double. But looking at 8%, which is probably on my outside number right now, 8%, if you did that day in and day out, if you're a good saver and you're hanging in the market and you have the propensity to do so, the rule of 72 at 8%, your money would double every 9 years. Now you have to start thinking about this. Is that enough to double? Or do I have to double down on my savings, my contribution to my retirement? I can't if my money is working hard for me, maybe I need to throw more money at this. So when I'm looking at retirement, I need to look at realistic goals in retirement, and can I satisfy those goals? And when I do the math in my head, I'm just saying, I know my money's doubling every 9 years. I'm going to be retiring in 35 years. I already know where that number is going to be. You have a pretty good basic idea of where you're at. You can always do rule of 72. Easy to understand. Don't need a calculator. Maybe you need a little pen and paper to do that math. Now I want to talk about your future here. Building your future. Now, remember, before you ever walk into investing, you need to do a risk tolerance test. A risk tolerance test, and there's many out there online, and it's not really what I would call a pure science. It's just a good beginning place. It's a good reference point for you to build your financial portfolio, your financial profile. Your financial profile is really, really, really important to build so that you understand yourself, to your own self be true, as Shakespeare said. Stocks. I want to know if I have a propensity for stocks. What's the beta risk on this stock that I'm looking at? It looks great at a 10% rate of return, but what am I risking in principal to get that 10% return? My financial risk tolerance test is going to give me a gauge, a place to start where I look at my propensities for risk, I look at my wife's propensity for risk, and we try to come to some common ground where we can measure what's really a good stock to buy. I love equities, still have equities even at my age today, but I have pared it down as I get closer to retirement. But I also look at my risk tolerance. I'm a baby boomer. I went through the 2008 market meltdown. Most of not only myself, but everyone that I know that's a baby boomer, we cannot afford another hit like that. So we've moved a lot more to guarantees, whether it's annuities or long-term certificates of deposit or buying treasuries straight out. Everybody's pretty conservative. And remember, stocks and bonds, the interest rates have been low for a long time. I don't know if they're going to go up. I've been saying they're going to go up for 10 years and hasn't really done that. So when I'm looking at bonds, there's a risk to bonds right now. So if interest rates start going up, the bonds that I have may not be very good. They're going to go down. So I need to build my future on what I think is really for sure. Now, right now I think the top annuity in the United States on a 5-year lock is about 3.25. That's your best annuity, 5-year guaranteed. I think the best 5-year CD might be at 245 somewhere out there, and that's not a bank in your local community. It's probably an internet bank. So I'm just giving you some ideas: stocks, bonds, CDs, and remember, one of the big things, mutual funds. I like mutual funds, and I also like ETFs, electronic traded funds. I like that, and I like equities. I just have to understand: can I handle the risk? Can I do the downturn? Why should I risk 10 to 15% of my principal for an 8% return? So I want to know what's got the highest possibility of rate of return with the lowest possible beta risk. Sometimes people do balanced income funds because it kind of gets best of both worlds. They're getting their bond interest and they're getting the stock dividend, and they're trying to blend the best rate of return that they can. But before you do that, you got to know your risk and can you take it? And remember, there are a lot of clients that lost 30 to 35% during the market downturn in 2008 and only recovered in 2015 and got back to par. So you got to keep in mind, you have the long haul. People, I thought it was really amazing. Think about young people coming into the market in the year 2000. You just graduated, you get yourself a job, and 2001, 2, and 3, bang, 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 3 loser years in a row. I mean, think about it. The S&P was crushed. So for 36 months, welcome to real 401k, savings, because you took a hit. Now baby boomers are taking a hit at 2008 right before their retirement. So it matters. You have to understand your propensity for risk and what you need for a longevity for your retirement. So mutual funds are definitely a place to play. ETFs, I really like them as well. They're a little less costly. You have to just see if you love indexing or indexes like the S&P 500 as an example. And remember, you can be a little bit more extravagant than that. We have many domestic indexes, and we also have many foreign that you could look and participate in. Individual retirement accounts like your 401k or an IRA. I love 401ks where the employer's matching. I usually don't go beyond the match, but I'm definitely involved in the match. If you say, Steve, I just don't feel good about mutual funds, well, if they'll let you have a side account or a small passbook account or whatever your 401k allows, remember, if your employer is matching, you've already doubled your money without any risk. If you just don't have the propensity for risk or you don't want to invest, you could do that. So, but most people say, hey, listen, I'm in my 30s. I can see the market. Everybody imagines the Ibbotson chart. You've seen it, where the mountain chart keeps going up and up and up. Well, it does go up, but that's the nominal rate of return. It's not the real rate of return. I still haven't priced in the cost of funds. I haven't put in the inflation, the power of my purchasing dollar. I haven't put in a lot of the extraordinary to see what the net number is, my real rate of return. But when you're looking at a long haul, if you have the propensity for risk because you took the test, you have longevity, you can start to look at some of these ideas. To me, when you're building your future, you want to be able to build a future that's based on time, not timing. And this brings me to one of our things. Time is your friend. Compounded interest over 30, 35, 40 years is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing, but not timing. Every time I've had clients over the years who they get a little bit of education and they decide, hey, I'm going to try to get in and to get out. So in 2008, they kept hanging in there, and of course they lost money. Most of us did. I did too as well. Then when we got back into the market, we started trying to play the market on the timing. We became technical timers. Maybe some of us felt like, hey, we actually got a pretty good handle on the market, and we started to do a timing effect. But almost every one of these, when you look at everybody who's tried to do timing, most of them are in loser positions. So they've really never been great timers. And most people that hold themselves out as timers, they're not really doing that much better than the normal people that are in there for the long haul. So remember, I love time. I just don't like timing. Market timing can be a problem. And then lastly, getting to the next financial level. The only way to do this, when was the last time you made a budget? Well, probably never. But if you haven't, I'll send it to you, steve@lifesizesolutions.com. I'll send you a budget that you can start out with. So write me, steve@lifesizesolutions.com. Do you have a debt repayment strategy? If you don't, we'll get you one that fits your profile once we do a test on you. And we examine where you're coming at from a psychological point of view and your indebtedness, whether it's short-term, mid-term, or long-term indebtedness. How much are you putting into savings? We need to know, what are you putting aside? Hopefully, at least your 401k is being matched by your employer. That's probably the only savings you really might probably have for the future. Then, how much is your emergency fund? It needs to cover at least 3 to 6 months of unemployment if it occurs in your life, and all your deductibles from your car, your home, and your medical insurance. Those have to be in there before you do anything else, and you have to have your emergency funds secure. And then you have to talk to a financial planner. My advice is, don't go this alone. This is not a do-it-yourself idea. Most people are not disciplined enough, don't stay hip to the market, don't understand taxation, don't understand the risks involved. It's really good to get with somebody that actually understands this, and you then have a handholder. You have a person that has pastoral feelings towards your family because they have your own financial good in mind. To me, this is what you want to do to get to the next level. These all have to be in place before you can move on to the second step. First step, take care of all these items, and those are the things that'll bring you financial freedom and getting your house in order. I want to thank you for watching our series on getting your financial house in order, sponsored by LifeSize Solutions and the Society for Financial Awareness. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.